and good evening to everyone. Greetings from Latvia, from United Kingdom, from Bulgaria here. I'm Milta, JS Latvia National President for this year, and today we are here. We are sharing our, I think, the biggest online event for this year, and it's Learning by Doing. So I hope it will be just awesome. And why we are here actually today, it's just because as this year, life happened too often. During this week, and we had to have JC Latvia Leadership Academy with 8 great speakers about 4 areas of opportunities. Well, it was postponed for the next spring, but we decided that if we have so amazing people we could talk about and discuss about leadership, then why not to do it with you? And that's why we are here with Anna Nikolova from JSA Bulgaria, who is our awesome Vice President assigned to Europe. And also Simon Alexander Ong from United Kingdom, who is just great person, awesome coach, I think, and keynote speaker. You all know them and have seen and know how good they are. So I'm really grateful for having you here. As you know, we like order and we like agendas. So to inform you about how this event will be, then we have 2 speakers. First will be Simon, then Anna, and feel free to share your comments or questions under the live for JC Latvia, either it's Facebook or in LinkedIn. And then at some point, Simon or Anna will be answering to your questions. And I think that it will be a really great session, and keep your all senses open, ears and eyes and everything. And I think there will be so much to take from this event. At least I'm really have a high expectation for that, so fingers crossed. And I'm really happy that you joined us and are ready for 2 exciting hours with us. So please, Simon, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us over the next 2 hours. I can see some comments already coming in, and if you haven't done so already, let us know in the comments where you are dialing in from. Where around the world are you dialing in from this afternoon, this morning, or this evening? So I see Dilip. Hello, Dilip. Great to have you here. Florina, hello to you as well. So, 1943, over in America, company Lockheed Martin's chief engineer, Clarence Kelly Johnson, fields a call from the US Department of Defense. On this call, he is told that German jet fighters have appeared across the skies of Western Europe, and the Americans wanted a counterpunch. As you can imagine, the mission was critical. The timeline was impossibly tight. Yet Kelly Johnson had an idea. Over at their Burbank, California facility, Johnson recruited the firm's brightest scientists, engineers, and then he walled them off from the rest of Lockheed's bureaucracy. He gave them total design freedom. No idea too wild, no idea too crazy. In just 143 days later, an amazing 7 days ahead of schedule, Johnson's team delivers to the Pentagon America's first military jet fighter. I'm not sure about you, but I know many projects that can't even get off the ground, let alone get their paperwork sorted in 143 days. Yet, Johnson's team had achieved this incredible feat. But here's what's important to note. Accomplishing this in 143 days ahead of schedule was not their goal. It wasn't their goal. It was one of the many goals that they had achieved en route to a far bigger vision. A vision to rid the world of Nazi peril. A vision to save the next generation. To ensure that life can continue. The sort of bold vision that could unite the entire team behind. And this is important about leadership. This is one of the most important aspects of leadership, is your ability to have vision, to have a compelling, a magnetic, and an exciting vision that not only supports you, but brings together the people that believe in what you believe. In fact, it's one of the most common traits when you look at successful organizations and successful leaders, is that ability to have a purpose greater than themselves. It's where we attach our desires to that purpose that is bigger than ourselves. If we look at vision for ourselves, what comes to my mind in this moment is this quote by Indian philosopher Patanjali. What he says is this: when you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary vision, your thoughts break their bonds. Your mind transcends limitation. Your consciousness expands in every direction, and you find yourself to be in a new, great, and wonderful world. Dormant forces, faculties, and talents awaken, and you find yourself to be far greater than you ever imagined. That is the power of vision, what it can do for you. Once you have clarity as to what is most important, what is it that you're working towards, what is it that you want to manifest, you unlock your greatest source of energy. Now, vision also serves two other aspects. The second is helping you to communicate what is it that you are looking to achieve to the world out there, to get people supporting you and to help make those visions a reality. Think about some of the great examples you can look back in the past on. Whether it's Martin Luther King standing on the steps of Washington saying, "I have a dream," when he shared that vision with America. Or if you haven't seen the Brian Stevenson TED Talk from 2012 titled, "We Need to Talk About an Injustice," I highly recommend you watch it. This TED Talk, in 18 minutes, he just touched on 3 powerful stories. One was about his grandmother. The second was about his experience speaking with a janitor in a courtroom. And the third was about Rosa Parks. Yet his ability to talk and articulate the vision that he had for his nonprofit meant that the audience at the end of this TED presentation combined to give his nonprofit $1 million in funding. Think about that for a moment. That is over $55,000 for each minute that he spoke on stage for. And that is the power of knowing your vision. Not only does it bring a light inside of you, keeping in mind this simple fact that we often are exhausted, not because we're doing too much, but because we are doing too little of what makes us feel alive, what sparks joy in us, and what truly excites us. When you know what it is that you're looking to achieve, you have the passion to share that with the world. The final reason why vision is important is it allows you to motivate the people that can help you achieve it. Remember, in life, for any bold vision you want to achieve, you will never get there alone. You will never get there alone. And so when you build a team to help you achieve a vision, it's about that vision inspiring them so that you can begin to bring into your team people that believe what you believe. Because you can always teach skills. You can't always teach values because we all have different values. The question is, are you working alongside people that share your values and believe what you do? So when you think about your own career, your business, your life, you want to reflect on what is most important to you. Too often, when we think about what is our definition of success, what's happening is, well, we have distilled other people's definition. We have distilled their experiences. We have distilled their influence. And so in the end, our definition is less our definition, but more someone else's. So what's important for you is to reflect, what is my definition of success? What does fulfillment look like? What sort of impact did I want to have in the world? You know, when I look back on my journey from employee to entrepreneur, for so long in my life, I had thought that success to me was defined by one of 4 job titles when I graduated: a banker, a doctor, a lawyer, or an accountant. And that is because I grew up in a very highly academic family, which my parents wanted me to do well in life. But for them, That was what success was. So when I broke out of that, when I wanted to ask myself those deep questions of what success meant to me, that set me on the path of deep self-exploration. The challenge then was to be able to build and design a life around those answers. To have the courage, to have the wisdom, to take those answers and to build your life around that. That is what leadership is about. If you want to truly lead others, whether it's your community, whether it's your organization, whether it's the people you spend time with, it begins with powerfully leading yourself. It begins with powerfully leading yourself. And one of the best places you can start in order to lead yourself is to think about your environment. The reason why our environment is so important is because your environment is that invisible force that shapes not just your thinking, but shapes what you see as possible. It is the very factor that moves you from limitation to possibilities, that moves you from I can't to how can I. And it moves you from feeling drained of energy to feeling truly energized. And to accomplish anything meaningful in life, you've got to have the energy to do so. Now, I remember the first time I saw firsthand about how important your environment is. Let me know in the comments if you've heard of the concept of a mastermind group. The very first time I came across this concept of a mastermind group was when I read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, an absolute classic of a book. And if you've not read it yet, highly recommend you do so. So I remember when I was at a friend's birthday and I met a guy called Mark, and he invited me to join a mastermind group. I had never been part of one, so keen as I was, interested as I was at the time, and curious to learn, I decided to take him up on the offer, and I went along to this mastermind group. Now, we were sitting in a circle, and Mark got each of us to introduce what we did. As I heard each of them introduce what they did, whether it's I left this industry to start this incredible business and now it's making X amounts of money, to I just flew back from America after receiving an award for some of the work that I've presented and the work that I've produced. I, at the time, was still employed. I, at the time, was at the very beginning of my journey. I had these big dreams, these big ideas of what I wanted to achieve. But yet in that moment, I felt like the dumbest in that circle. I felt imposter syndrome. I felt, why was I in this circle? All these people are doing incredible things, yet here I am with not very much to add into what were a group of very high achievers. Now, the reason I share that story with you is because what happened in the consequent few weeks was simply breathtaking. In the weeks after I had that first meeting with the mastermind group, what I had done in moving forward was remarkable. I had got so many things done that would usually take me months, I had achieved in weeks. From getting my website up, to securing my first client, to marketing what I was doing. And it taught me this important lesson about learning, about your environment, is that if you are the most ambitious, the most inspired person in your group, you need a new group. Because only when you are the dumbest, just as I was in that room, only when you are the dumbest person in the room do you have capacity to learn. But it also comes down to your humbleness to want to learn, your willingness to learn. Too many of us, as Carol Dweck notes in her book about mindset, there is this idea of a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. Too many of us are in this fixed mindset where we feel we cannot learn anymore. We feel we can't develop. But if you approach life, if you approach leadership with a growth mindset, then you are always looking for the lesson in every opportunity. You are looking for the lesson in every challenge, in every event. And that's how you grow. That is how you become the leader you want to be. Because leadership isn't about just doing a course in a day and then suddenly you become a leader. That's not how it works. Yes, some of us would like it to work that way, but leadership is a lifestyle. Leadership is how you show up. Leadership is how you treat other people. Leadership is how you inspire, how you communicate, how you empathize, and whether you have the power to create other leaders. That is what leadership is about. And it's not something you can learn in a day or on a course. It is something you have to be willing to commit time to being, to demonstrate leadership in everything that you do. Now, there's a question I often ask people when I talk about the theme of leadership, and that is take a moment to reflect on when you think about effective leaders, what sort of traits come to mind? They could be inspirational, it could be empathy, it could be aspiring, it could be a good communicator. What sort of descriptions come to your mind when you think about great leaders, whether they have been great leaders in your life, in your organization, in politics, whatever the field? Now, when I ask the audience this, I get a whole list of adjectives, a whole list of descriptions and traits about what makes for great leaders. What I then get them to do, which I would encourage you to do as well, is once you've got this list of what you feel makes a great leader, is to then reflect on how many of those do you demonstrate? How many of those characteristics do you consciously seek to demonstrate in your everyday? Because one of the traps we can fall into when it comes to leadership is thinking that we need a title, that not until I'm managing director or I'm president or I'm the boss of X am I a leader, or not until I'm earning X or I've achieved Y am I a leader. But here's the thing about leadership. You can demonstrate leadership right now in any aspect of your life, your business, or your career. You do not need a title to be a leader. You can begin to demonstrate leadership qualities in every single thing you do. And just imagine this for a moment. Imagine an organization in which every single member, from the most junior to the most senior, shows up every single day demonstrating leadership qualities. Just imagine for a moment what could be possible when that happens. I mean, that is the dream of many organizations, many communities, many governments, to have people demonstrating leadership qualities. But you yourself can do so today. And this leads me onto the idea of adaptability. Charles Darwin said in his book, The Theory of Evolution, it is not the strongest or the most intelligent that survive. It is the most adaptable. It is the most adaptable that survives. And when we look back on this year where the world has been affected by this global pandemic, this COVID outbreak, what has proven the case again is great leadership is not how you navigate your team, your organization in times of certainty, in times of prosperity. Effective leadership is how you navigate and steer the ship in times of challenge, in times of uncertainty. Because here's the thing about challenges, failures, and events such as what has happened this year that are unexpected. You can't control whether these things happen or not, but you can control your response. And it is in your response where your greatest power lies. It is how you choose to respond in these moments of stress, in these moments of crisis. That is the measure of powerful leadership. Leaders are born through crisis because it is their ability to relate. It is their ability to listen. It is their ability to understand what must change in order to come out of any challenge stronger than before. It is like Rocky said, Sylvester Stallone, in one of my favorite film franchises. Rocky said in his son, in one particular scene, he said to his son, it is not about how hard you can hit in life. It is about how hard you can get hit and keep coming back again and again and again. And so when I go through periods of uncertainty, as we all do, when I face the unexpected, one of the exercises I do to help bring things under control is to simply write down what are the things that I have influence over and what are the things that I do not have influence over. Because if you focus too much, if you focus all of your time on the things you do not have influence over, you will become paralyzed by overthinking. you will feel stressed. You will feel overwhelmed. But if you focus on what you do have influence over, however small, and I guarantee you there is always something that you have influence over, then you become empowered to take action. You become empowered to find what's best to move forward. And you become empowered to discover the strength that has been inside you all along. And now is the time to put that to good use, to channel your energy in a very productive way so that you can navigate these storms and come out a far better individual after. You know, when I look back at my career, it's not been a straight line. We all like to think that success, a journey from A to B is a straight line, but it is never that way. One of the pictures that comes to my mind when I think about any journey, and especially when it's about leadership journey, is I see it as a maze. Often people say it's a marathon or it's a sprint. For me, it's a maze simply because if we think of life as a sprint or a marathon, it assumes we are always moving forwards. But let's face it, we're not always moving forwards. In a maze, you might take a turning to the left or right, which leads to a dead end. But the dead end has taught you something. Now you know what not to make next time, perhaps. You know how next time to make a different choice. And that's why for me, life is really a maze. You're learning all the time. You might hit some dead ends sometimes. You might find the way forward next time. Next time you might fall back 3 steps. You might move forward 2 more steps. Life is a maze, and it's about being open to learning, having that curiosity to explore what it is that interests you. You know, if I hark back to what I said earlier about vision, some people might say to me, well, Simon, I don't know what is it I want to work towards. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what is it that I can lead in, that I can become a thought leader in, that I can inspire other people in what I do. Now, I would suggest to begin with a far softer question. What are you most curious about right now? What arouses your curiosity? Because there is often wisdom in your curiosity. Think about that presentation that Steve Jobs gave at the Stanford commencement speech when he spoke about his curiosity into calligraphy, which led him to design. For his love of design made Apple Apple. For me, when I was a teenager, one of my curiosities at the time was close-up magic. And then after close-up magic, it was understanding the human mindset. How could some individuals achieve extraordinary success in very short spaces of time, yet the majority of us are fighting for mediocrity? In that, what I learned is that in order to live an extraordinary life, you have to give up. You have to be willing to give up an ordinary one. Because ultimately, when you do what most won't, you will be able to enjoy what most can't. So when I look back on my career today, as I said earlier, it is more like a maze. There's a litany of pivotal moments, if you will. But those moments are what shape you. Those moments are what make you the leader you can be. It's what makes you a distinguished, a unique leader. And it's up to you to draw on those moments, to take the positives, to take the lessons, to take the wisdom from that, and put that as part of your philosophy. Blend that together to be part of your philosophy of leadership. If I just give you a very quick summary, when I was 19 years old, I lost my mum. 3 years later, I went to university here in the UK and I failed my second year. A couple of years after that, I started my first job in the financial services sector in 2007, a year before the global financial crisis of 2008. So while it sounded like a good decision at the time, in hindsight, not the best decision, I'm sure you would agree. And even worse, when that first company was called Lehman Brothers. And then a few years after that, I was in and out of jobs. I was nearly at the point of ending my relationship with my girlfriend at the time. But within all of that, the message I want to share with you now is that in your hardest times, in your toughest times, those are the very moments that will equip you with the wisdom, the insight, and the skills to create the best times of your life. And in that journey to creating the best times of your life, that is how you discover your inner leader. That is how you begin to lead yourself out of the doom and into the brightness of what can be. Those are important. It's not about a straight line, but it's about seeking again the lessons and the wisdom in every event that happens in our life, because that helps us become adaptable. That helps us navigate these challenging times. And that is what leadership is about. Ultimately, you can't change unless you are aware of something to change. It is why I often say to my clients, or I say to audiences I speak to, change begins with awareness. We've got to be aware of what is it that we are good at? What is it that makes us unique? What is it that allows us to lead in a particular way that can bring people together? We all have different strengths. We were all born with different gifts. It is our duty to discover what they are, to embrace them, and use them to become the leader we can be deep within. And that is what I am doing all the time. It is to set my own challenges, because challenges is what makes us grow. It is what makes us develop. Because you can only lead people as far as you have gone yourself. If you develop yourself to here and you do not do any more development, you cannot bring people beyond where you have got to. But if you keep developing yourself, you can bring people further along with you because of your focus on personal development. Now, what this touches on is this idea that when we think about vision, when we think about what is it we are looking to lead people towards, what is that destination or purpose that we are looking to inspire people to create, this is the paradox of a goal and a vision. It's that yes, it is important to have a vision and a goal, but the goal and the vision is not as important as who you must become in order to get anywhere close to achieving it. That is why the process is the most important part. Leadership is not a destination. Again, leadership is a journey. Leadership is a lifestyle. Leadership is a way of being. Are you being anywhere close to the leader that you know you can be? Because every day, if you become even a tiny bit better than the person you were yesterday, that is progress. That is progress. And in any sort of development, whether it's leadership, whether it's career, whether it's your business, consistency is what matters the most. It is not what you do once in a while that makes a difference, but it is what you do daily that is going to make the real difference. Denzel Washington noted when he received an award for his acting that without commitment, you will never begin. But more importantly, without consistency, you will never finish. And that's why it is about the long game when it comes to development and when it comes to leadership. Is this something you are committed to? Or is this merely an interest? Because when it's only an interest, well, you're not going to do the work that's required. An interest means you are 50-50, you haven't decided. Whereas when you are committed, what happens is you have decided, in your mind you have decided. And why is this a beautiful place? Because when you have decided, your mind moves to how. Your mind moves to how. And that is an action-oriented mindset. That is a beautiful place to be, because now your mind has moved away from indecision and it has moved to action. And a strong bias to action is what will set you apart in the leadership field. Because too often we have an idea here and then we have to execute it. But the problem is the gap between idea and execution is massive. Now, when you can minimize that gap between idea and execution, when you can make that gap smaller, that is how you will learn quicker. That is how you will move forward quicker. It's because you get to learn real life feedback, real life lessons at a far more accelerated pace. It is why the analogy that comes to my mind, I grew up learning martial arts, everything from karate to taekwondo to Wing Chun Kung Fu. And I often say using a reference for martial arts is to maintain that white belt mentality. Because when people get to black belt, guess what? They get to black belt, and the chance of them continuing in the same intensity as they did before, well, it's not really the same, because now they can go and tell other people, I'm a black belt. But when you're a white belt, when you are a perpetual white belt, you are thirsty to learn. You have that desire to want to be better. And that is all about understanding yourself. Understanding other people might make you wise, but really understanding yourself is what can awaken your deepest potential within. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start answering your questions, because I'm seeing a lot of questions come through, and I want to make sure that you have the time to have your questions answered, so you can get the benefit of us right now in this live session where I'm speaking directly to you. I want you to get the most value out of it. So if you have any questions, I encourage you now to put them in the comments section so I can see them and pick them up as we go through. And as I answer one person's question, it might open up some other ideas of questions for you. Again, put them in the comments there so I can address them as we go through them. So I'm just going to scroll up now to see some of your questions coming through. So the first one I'm seeing here is from Dovil. Hopefully I pronounced your name correct there, Dovil. So your question says, what kind of books do you recommend to read? Fantastic. So in terms of what kind of books I recommend to read, first of all, I highly recommend you read books generally. There's a great saying that goes, leaders are readers. And the reason is because books allow you to get into the mindset of some of the greatest leaders of the past and of the current. Success leaves clues. And when we look at the lives of the greatest leaders that have lived and are living, we get an insight into the habits that have made them the person that they are today, the events that have shaped them, the experiences they've had. And that allows us, if you will, to finish a book in, let's say, a few weeks. In a few weeks, you get the same amount of insights as that individual had throughout their lifetime. Now, for me, books to read straight away that are related to leadership, the first one is The Go-Giver. The Go-Giver by Bob Burg and John David Mann. It is a small book. It's a red-colored book. And I'm pretty sure if you're anything like me, you will finish that book in one night. It's not a long book, but it's written in the form of a parable. That book, in which one of the co-authors became a mentor to me, that book helped shape the philosophy of my business. In essence, the book is really about the power of giving. If we bring it to a broader scale, the idea it is trying to share with you is this: your value in life is determined by how much more you have given to the world than you have taken from it. So that's the first recommendation I would share with you. The second one that comes to my mind when we think about leadership is a book by Simon Sinek, and it is called The Infinite Game. And in The Infinite Game, it emphasizes what I mentioned earlier, is this focus on the journey. It's this focus on progression and development rather than outcomes. Because when we focus on the outcome, i.e., I'll be happy when, or when this happens, when I get that promotion, I can then do X, Y, Z. What does that mean you are in the meantime? Anxious, depressed, sad, living for the future, or to put it in extreme circumstances, living as if you're never going to die and then die having never really lived? So when you focus on the process, it brings you back to the present day to focus on what is in your control. The next book I would recommend to you is a book by James Clear called Atomic Habits. Again, the notion of this book, gives it away in the title. It's about habits, but really it emphasizes the idea that you don't always get your goals. You don't always get your goals, but you always get your habits. You always get your habits. So it is about reflecting on, are your habits bringing you closer or further away from where you would like to be? Is it helping you becoming the person you want to be, or is it limiting you? So those are 3 great book recommendations for you. If you're taking notes, again, the first one is The Go-Giver by Bob Burg and John David Mann. The second one is The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. And the third one is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Fantastic. So if I go to the next question here from Vika, her question says, what type of leaders have you met the most? Now, I'm not sure what you mean specifically by what type, in terms of actual people, in terms of type of leadership style. So I'm just going to talk about leaders in general that I've met and what I've learned. Now, going back to what I said earlier, your environment is so important. Remember, your environment and who you spend time with can either limit you or challenge you to be better. And so for me, the type of leaders I spend time around, I've had the opportunity to speak to Simon Sinek when I was in New York. I've had the opportunity to speak alongside some well-known leaders here in the UK. And what I've noticed is they all have different ways of leading. But for me, the most important style of leadership is not what I would call a prescribed style. It's like my way or this way or that way. The most important style of leadership is your ability to adapt your style of leadership based on the scenario, based on the situation that you are in. That is the most important style of leadership. Within that is also your ability to listen and to admit when you don't know. You know, listening sounds such a simple skill, really, right? I mean, when we think about it, we all say we listen, but truly listening is defined by your ability to understand people. Now, when you understand people as a leader, you have the power to create an environment in which everyone can thrive. Because when you are typically hired for a job in an organization, you are hired for a function. You're hired for a functional role. But when you move into a leadership position or managerial position where you now are responsible for a number of people, it is not about you being good at your functional role. I mean, yes, that is important, but it becomes far more important as to how you can bring out the best in others. And you can only do so when you understand people, when you understand what makes them tick, when you understand what motivates them, when you understand what would bring their strength to life. Because when you create an environment in which your employees feel trusted, supported, and appreciated, well, that is when businesses, communities, and organizations will flourish. Great. So, Vika, moving on to your next question. You said, how did JCI help you in regards to leadership and or business? Well, what I will share with you, Vika, is a story of my very first JCI event quite a number of years ago now. So at this JCI event, this was probably around 2013, 2014, I think. So I signed up to join JCI. This was a time when I was thinking about moving out of employment and into entrepreneurship. And one of the skills I wanted to develop, and I think, again, it's such an important skill, is public speaking. I often say that just because you have a great idea, just because you have something that you feel can add value, doesn't mean it well, or doesn't mean the idea is great. Because until you can communicate it and articulate that effectively, then, well, you know, it just remains a great idea to you alone only. So when I learned the power of communication and the power of presenting, I remember putting myself forward to speak at a JCI event here in London. And that is how JCI began to help me to develop my own leadership skills, is my ability to train and to speak at JCI events, to put those things into practice. And it was quite an interesting first experience, actually, Vika, because I remember preparing for the talk, and I remember we had the slides set up, the technical things were all good, and we tested everything, and we were good to go. And the event was starting at 7:30 in the evening. And because it was my very first time doing public speaking, I had written a lot of notes and things I wanted to use and things that I wanted to share with the audience. And I was looking to put my notes on my keyboard at the front of the room so I could refer back to them during my presentation. Unfortunately, 5 minutes before the talk was about to start, I realized that I brought the wrong set of notes with me. I realized that I left the notes that I spent so long putting together at home, and I'd brought notes which were completely irrelevant to what I was going to speak about. But it was one of those moments, Vika, in which it was fight or flight. With 5 minutes to go, I had to make a decision. Would I continue delivering this event, or would I, well, give in because I hadn't any of my notes to work off from? I decided to move forward, and I ran the event, but this wasn't a 20-minute TED Talk. This was a 90-minute event with a break in the middle. But the experience taught me so many lessons I would not have learned otherwise if I did not say yes to beginning. And that is important, I think, when we also look at leadership skills. It's your ability to begin before you are ready. Too often we wait for the perfect moment till we're 100% ready. The fact is you will never be fully ready. You will never know when the time is right to step up, to try something new, to move country, to start that business, to accept that opportunity, to lead that team. The thing is, you say yes if you feel it is going to challenge you in the right way, and then you figure out how to do it later. Because more often than not, when these events happen, when the unexpected happens, as it did for me, Vika, when I first started getting involved in JCI events, you find the strength. You turn up and you adjust in order to make things happen. And since then, Vika, you know, I've been participating in JCI events, from speaking at National Convention, going to regional events, World Congress last year. Unfortunately, I would have been in Japan this year if it wasn't for COVID, at the World Congress this year. And it's been great for me in terms of learning from other countries, other JCI chambers, about the great work that they do, what we as a JCI here in the UK can learn from other countries, and also the different skills. You know, I've learned lots as well from fellow JCI members. You know, just naming a couple off my head: Felipe Carrera, Simon Bucknell, and Jay Johnson, and also people from Japan's delegation. There's lots of things that we can learn from other people, and I think one of the things about JCI, which is also good for your environment, is your ability to have diverse inputs. If you only learn from the same people, the same books, the same talks, then guess what? You're only ever going to think like the same people. But if you can create some sort of diversity of input, whether it's from different people from different countries, people from different backgrounds with different experiences, doing different jobs, doing different businesses, that is how you begin to think differently. That is how you see things from different perspectives, and that is how innovation happens. That is how we begin to think like an innovator, a visionary. It is from the power of perspective. Great stuff. So moving on to the next question from Florina. Florina's asking, which are the most effective tools which should be used in order to evaluate how you developed your leadership skills? Well, Florina, the very first part, the very first exercise that comes to my mind that I did when I was at the beginning of my journey, you know, when I was, I guess, in the final sort of few months of being an employee before I jumped into the world of entrepreneurship, is I remember I created some lists. And on these lists, one column was be, one column was do, one column was have. Now, too often, many of us focus too much of our attention to the have column. You know, I want to have a nice car, I want to have a big house, I want to have a wonderful family, I want to have a nice job, I want to have a great paycheck, and so on. We focus too much time on that have column. And then we think, because once we have what we want to have, we can do what we want to do, and then we can be what we want to be. But it doesn't work that way, right? You know, if you have the nice car, if you have the big house, it doesn't necessarily mean you can do the things you want to do, because you might still be locked in a long-hour job. It doesn't mean you can be the person you want to be. So one of the things I did is I flipped it completely the other way around. I decided to focus my attention not on the have column, but on the be column first. Because what I realized is that when you start with thinking about who do you want to be, that is how life changes. That is how you begin to step into the type of leader you want to be. So who do you want to be? So in my case, what came to my mind is I wanted to be someone that can inspire another human to do something that they've been meaning to do for so long, but they haven't for whatever reason. I wanted to be that person that would unlock that fire in them so they could have the energy to move forward. I wanted to be that person where they would look back and say to me, Simon, thank God you spoke to me. Thank God you gave me those words of wisdom, that nudge and that challenge, because it's helped me to live a more fulfilling life. I wanted to be that person that added value into people's lives. And now, as I talk to you now about all the things I wrote down on the column of who I wanted to be, a lot of that ties into this concept of legacy. We don't think enough, I think, about our legacy. Our legacy being, when you pass from this world, what will people be saying about your life? What will people remember you for? Because they sure as hell won't remember you for how much money you made, how quickly you got promoted, what titles you had. More likely, they're going to remember your human values, your human characteristics. And that's why starting with who do you want to be is an important first step. Now, once you focus on who you want to be, then you can kind of do the things you want to do. And then you can have what you want to have. That's how it works. And that was almost one of the first exercises I did, Florina, followed by really understanding what was important to me about the visions that I had for myself, of what I wanted to accomplish, what I wanted to achieve in my life and my business. Now, this is an important exercise that many of us skip. We spend lots of time thinking about what we want to achieve, what's important to us, but we don't spend time thinking about why. What is important about that goal? What is important about getting that position? What is important about realizing that vision? Because the deeper you understand the reasons for what you want, the easier the how. Once you have a deeper, more emotional connection to the journey ahead, the easier it becomes to work out how you're going to get there. If you only have superficial motivation, superficial reasons, I'm doing this because, well, he or she's doing it. I'm doing it because that's what everyone else is doing. Well, your fire and motivation isn't going to last. As soon as the tough times come, they will. As soon as the challenges appear, they will. You give up. Persistence is a powerful leadership quality. Your ability to keep moving forward, to move forward despite your fears, despite the challenges, and despite the self-doubt. But you can only do that if it is something that you truly believe in, that you're connected to, and that you're passionate about. And so that's why it's important to go through and reflect on what are the things I want in life? What are the things I'm working towards? Who do I want to be? And then question them. What is the reason I want to be like this? What is the reason this vision is a must for me? So, Florina, those are a couple of tools that I used in the early days. And then as I started forming this foundation, as I mentioned, the first step is environment. I looked at what I was reading, what I was watching, what I was listening to, who I was spending time with. All of these inputs are part of your environment. And what I did then is I kept asking myself, who? We learn from other people. And so I kept thinking, I want to learn this new skill. Who can I speak to that can help me improve on that skill? Who can I follow on social media? Who can I read about? Whose journey can I better understand to help me get an understanding of what I need to do? Because one of the things I love, and I think it's a great habit and skill to develop, is to codify how other people have achieved what they have achieved. Again, success leaves clues. If you spend time codifying, taking your lessons and applying them, that is how you will grow as a person. Remember, knowledge on its own means nothing. It is your ability to apply that knowledge that makes the difference. As Bruce Lee once said, knowing isn't enough, you must apply. Willing isn't enough, you must do. Action is where it's at. Fantastic. So, Evia, hopefully I pronounced your name correct there. Apologies if I haven't. So her question is, what is the most difficult part of being a leader? Well, I think there's so many challenges in anything you do, Evia. But I think in terms of when I think of challenging parts of being a leader, is that uncertainty is probably the most difficult thing about being a leader. Because when you are a follower, when you are in a job, well, guess what? You are relying on your manager, your leader, the people at the top to guide you in these uncertain times. But when you are the leader yourself, when you are in a leadership position, it is your responsibility to navigate these times of uncertainty, to be able to prepare for the unexpected, to be able to keep your team motivated, to keep them, if you will, psychologically safe, so they trust you. That, for me, is one of the most difficult parts, because there will be times when you don't know things. There will be times in which you will go through your own personal crisis. But it is how you show up. It is how you have the courage to navigate the uncertainty. If you will, it's the idea of being comfortable with the uncomfortable. And it's not something that comes easy to us. The human minds, we like to have comfort. We like to sort of be around and doing things that we know well. So when our comfort gets challenged, that is when we often feel afraid. That is often when we feel stressed. But that is also how we build resilience. That is also how we build confidence in our power and our ability to move through testing times. And it's also the most difficult part of leadership, is how, again, you navigate testing, uncertain, and strange times, such as the ones that many of us have been facing this year. Great. So moving on to, I think, is the final question or statement from Alexis, if I pronounce that correct. So you mentioned, as we know, many leaders nowadays are single. What about being a successful leader and having family, being good parent partner? So I'm going to bring your statement, if I can, to a broader level. Now, I'm going to talk about leadership first as a sort of a lonely thing, I guess, and also in terms of having family as well. Now, I think leadership, if you're going to be an effective leader, it's always more than a one-person job. If you look at Apple, Steve Jobs had Steve Wozniak. If you looked at Microsoft, Bill Gates had Paul Allen. If you look at Berkshire Hathaway Holdings, Warren Buffett has got Charlie Munger. So in any sort of organizational community, a leader needs people beside them that can do the things that he or she can't. It is a team effort. And so any organization who has achieved any amounts of success has been because of the people that stood either side of them. Now, when you talk about leaders being single and having family, I would say, actually, I observe a bit of a different thing to what you're observing. When you think about successful leaders, I think successful leaders, there are many examples where they've also raised a good family. And I think parents, there's a big correlation between being a great leader and being a good parent, because parenthood is a form of leadership, right? You are the leaders to your children. So the example that comes straight to my mind, Alexis, is Barack Obama. The Obamas. Barack Obama was president before for 2 terms, you look at Michelle Obama. She's achieving a lot herself with her book Becoming, with her Netflix show. They're raising a family together. So they're a great example of the fact that both of you can be leaders, and you can raise a good family. So you don't have to be single to be a great leader. You can still do both these days. And I think what's different today than in the past is there's never been more opportunities for both men and women to step up and to demonstrate their leadership capabilities. If I look at my personal life, Alexis, I think something that Ryan Holiday noted. Ryan Holiday said is that finding your right life partner is one of life's greatest hacks. And I couldn't agree more, because the person that you spend the most time with, that person will influence your thinking. That person will influence how you see yourself. That person will influence your beliefs, your motivation, whether you decide to move forward or not. And so that is one of the, I guess, underrated forms of life hacks, is finding the right life partner to share that journey with you on. Because if you and your partner share the same values, if you believe the same things, if you're working towards a common vision, there is no reason why you both can't be leaders in your own right. Fantastic. So I think I've answered all of the questions there. I want to give you sufficient time to have your questions answered. We have, I think, just a couple of minutes left. So if you do have any final questions, do let me know in the comments now, and then I can get back to them. But if you have other questions once you finish listening to both myself and Anna afterwards, you can connect with me on social media. I'm on all the major platforms, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, Twitter and Instagram. My handle is @SimonAlexanderO. And of course, I'm on Facebook. So do come and find me and ask any questions you may have afterwards. Just saw Dilip post a comment saying, family support is very important for a successful leader. That motivates him long-term business. I thought so. Indeed, Dilip. And just a final example that came to my mind as I'm talking about family and leadership is the late Kobe Bryant, who unfortunately passed away in the helicopter incident in California. He mentioned when he was sharing how he became successful in the field of basketball on a podcast show, is the reason he became successful at such a young age, and he was committed and he had the confidence and the courage to show it every day, even though he kept missing or he wasn't top of the class or he wasn't the most gifted basketball player. It's because his father trusted him. His father told him, Kobe, you have got my unconditional love. It doesn't matter if you're top of the class or the bottom of the class, I love you all the same. Of course, I would want you to have the best in life. I want you to have the opportunities. But for me, the most important thing is that you're trying your best. No matter what happens, I am here for you. Now, when you know that your partner, your father, your parents, your siblings have your back, guess what? It gives you the psychological safety to go, to try, to fail, to learn, to innovate, to become the person you know you can be. And that is the same in organizations. That is the same in communities, in projects you're running, when you're in leadership positions, when you give your team the space to feel safe, to feel trusted, to feel supported, to feel encouraged, guess what? They have the confidence to focus on what they do best. They have the belief that someone above them, that someone beside them has their back, so they can go forth and help the team towards achieving their goal in the same way as Clarence Johnson's team did all those years back in the 1940s to deliver the first military jet to the United States Pentagon team. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed my talk.
Thank you, Simon. It was really, really cool. And I think even behind the stage, it looked really awesome. And I had a lot of notes. So I hope everyone else enjoyed this evening. And I'm really, truly happy to hear you here. And who knows, maybe next year we will still meet at the academy. You never know. So thank you so much. And I know that Simon has also lots of things on his list now to do. So thank you for joining so late, and thank you so much. And now we continue our talk with our other speaker, who is our awesome Vice President, Anna from Bulgaria. And I think, Anna, this was a great introduction Simon gave us, and for continuation. And also, I keep reminding that please feel free to write your questions during the Anna's speak. And once she will be ready, she will be she will be answering your questions. And I think that, yes, Anna. So the floor is yours now. Thank you.
Thank you, Luta, and hello, everyone. Wherever you are now, good evening, good morning, and it's really a pleasure to be here today with you. And it's kind of a challenge to speak after Simon, but I'll try my best. Well, if someone asks you how you can describe a strong leader, what you would say? This is something actually that have been asked sometimes. Usually you'll start to list some characteristics, qualities, skills, behavior, or simply will give an example of a strong leader, or maybe both. And it will be interesting when you see what you believe is a strong leader and what you can find that you have the same characteristic or skills. So it's a way you can measure. But how about if someone asks you how he or she can become a better leader, stronger leader? Well, there is no like general formula or some way to do that. So what can you do in order to become a strong leader and more effective one? So as I mentioned, speaking after Simon is always a challenge since the level is quite high, but I like challenges. So in fact, Simon is one of the people I met during my first steps to growing JCI. He was a speaker during the first big international national convention of JCI Bulgaria back in 2015. And I can tell you that his speech was on the topic how to change your mindset. And it was a kind of a catalyzer to look more for all the opportunities out there that JCI provides. So we have in JCI 4 areas of opportunity, but one of the biggest things it's actually put in our tagline, developing leaders for changing world. So it's here. And it's part of what we are doing in JCI, really to provide this environment and stage for people to develop themselves. And when I was thinking what to talk about today, I looked back and kind of marked the things that I think helped me to grow within my own abilities. We do not need to become someone else to be great leaders. We just need to become our better self in our own abilities. And as Simon said, leadership is a lifestyle. So what you can do is to listen, learn, and act every single day to become a better person. And this, they will become a better leader. Probably no one plans to become a leader. The way you live your life show you become one. It is up to you if you want to become a great one and if you want really to fulfill this leadership in your life. I will share with you a few things that I believe they work for me, but of course it is up to you if you want to use them, to take them, and the way you can implement them in your life, because you will be the leader you want to be. No one can tell you what and how you can do better in that sense. So starting with one thing is start by understanding your leadership style. It's not an easy task, I know, because even though it's essential, it's very difficult to find, and there are a lot of, let's say, theories, what are the styles and everything out there. I will mention just a few of them, but it's why not to think about what is your style and to think about what skills are going with the style that you're using or that belief it can fit to you. So what are your strengths? Which areas need some improvement? One way to start assessing your skills is to take this one leadership quiz or something similar. There are quite some that you can find on internet, to get the general idea of how you lead. Once you have completed quiz or something that you can measure your skills, you can read about the major characteristics that are in your dominant style, because usually we have a mixture all that, but there is one that is dominant. Are these qualities helping or hindering your leadership? Once you've determined which areas need some work, you can begin looking for ways to improve your leadership abilities. A leadership style refers to a leader's characteristic behavior when directing, motivating, guiding, and managing a group of people, managing your team. Either it's work-related, either it's in JCI, or even in a way that you work within your own family, with your personal life. Great leaders can inspire movements and social change. They can also motivate others to perform, to create, and to innovate. As you start, consider some of the people who you think as a great leader, you can immediately see that there are often vast differences in how each person leads. Fortunately, researchers have developed different theories and frameworks, as I mentioned, that allows us to better identify, understand these different leadership styles and to associate with our style. Leadership styles are classifications of how a person behaves while leading a group. And it could be rational, autocratic. It could be some kind of a democratic style. It can be a delegative style. I'm not going to get into this because I can give you a homework to read about all these styles and see how actually they address your own leadership styles, or the style that you believe that you can improve. I really like the theory of transformational leadership. It's something that I find myself pretty close. So transformational leaders are able to motivate and inspire followers and to direct positive changes in the teams, in the groups they work with. They are generally energetic, enthusiastic, and passionate. Not only are these leaders concerned and involved in the process, but they're also focused on helping every person, every member of the group, or let's say their followers, to success as well. So they measure their leadership in success of others. You may see a similar style in many people in JCI. So this, I can say, that is very often a style that people, members of our organization have. There is also a transactional leadership and situational leadership. I'm not going into that, but I really encourage you to look more about these styles and theories, because they can really give you some good ideas what you can improve and how you can improve yourself. Then the second thing I was thinking when I was thinking back was to give, let's say, to encourage creativity. First, your own creativity, and second, of course, the creativity of the people you're working with. So followers need to be encouraged to express their creativity and innovativeness in a way. Effective leaders should offer new challenges with the idea to support to achieve these goals. One way to foster creativity is to offer challenges to the people you work with, or the people in your team in JCI, in the people around you. Make sure that the goals are within the grasp of their own abilities. Now, the purpose of this is to get people to stretch their limits, but not to become discouraged by barriers to success or by showing that they can't do something. It's the idea, it's really to show them that they can do. And this can be done with your support and within their abilities. And following that is the third thing is to serve as a role model. I strongly believe this is the way that we can really show how leadership is and what can be for the other people. If you want to become a better leader, work on modeling the qualities that you would like to see in the people that are following you or admires you, or you're working with. Strong leaders exemplifying behaviors and characteristics that they encourage to see in the people they work with, their followers. They walk the walk and talk the talk, as we say. As a result, the group, the members admire these leaders and follow, even may say copy these behaviors in a way, and in a better way, hopefully. Then something that I really see myself very often in, to be passionate about everything you do. Would you look to someone for guidance and leadership if that person did not really believe and follow the goals of the things that he is doing, or it's not passionate about the work that he or she is doing? Of course not. Great leaders are not just focused on getting people to finish tasks. They have the genuine passion and enthusiasm for everything they do. And they show it to everyone with their action, with their words, with everything that they do. You can develop this leadership quality by thinking of different ways that you can express your zeal. Let people know that you care about their progress as well. When one person shares something with the rest of the group, be sure to tell them how much you appreciate their contribution, and how much that, if you like it, how much you like it. If you think something can be improved, just say it and support them. And coming to that, it's also to listen and communicate effectively. Strong leaders must be able to communicate with everyone, everywhere, in every situation. And even though I haven't been in a public speaking trainings particularly, during my years in JCI particularly, I have learned that for a leader or a person in a position in the organization should be able to give a speech at any certain time, and of course be able to talk and communicate with everyone in the way that they need. Also, it is important for the leaders to be able to communicate their vision. to the followers who then feel inspired and motivated by this vision. Good leaders should express sincere care and concern for the members of their group, for their followers, both verbally and non-verbally. By keeping lines of communication open, so to be able to show that you're open for communication, the leaders can ensure that the group of members feel able to make contributions and to receive recognition for their achievements. Following that, it's very important to have a positive attitude towards people and towards everything you do. And another important thing is to have upbeat, I may say optimistic attitude that serve as a source of inspiration for yourself as well, but also for the followers. If leaders seems discouraged or apathetic, the others are likely also to become uninspired in a way, or maybe they can also become apathetic and discouraged of the things. Especially this year, this is very important to show that leadership is in crisis is a way of doing things, and the crisis is not something to stop you, but it's something that can give you even wings and to fly and to become better and to do better things. Even when things look bleak and your follower starts to feel disheartened, try to stay positive as much as you can. This does not mean that like to view everything with the rose-colored glasses, of course. It simply means that maintaining a sense of optimism and hope in the face of challenges, and to try to find ways to overcome every challenge and to support others to do so as well. Here it is also to encourage people to make contributions to the activity that you do together. Let the members of your team know that you welcome their ideas. Leaders who encourage involvement from group members are often referred to as a democratic or participative leaders, which I really believe it's a very good way, especially in your personal leadership, because you maybe don't work with everyone who is your follower all the time. You don't have this big team built, but if you are able and more open, democratic in the way that you're working with them, it will just create a good atmosphere in the work group or in the things you're doing. While they retain the final say over all decisions, they encourage team members to take an active role in coming up with ideas and plans and just get the inspiration to do something. There was a research that has shown that using a democratic leadership style leads to a greater commitment of people, more creative problem solving, and improved productivity. So why not do this? This also includes delegating some decisions and responsibilities for other people. Not an easy task, I may say from my own experience, but this is something that in a way differs a leader from just a manager, because they are different. They can have, one person can be both, but in general, they are not the same thing. Motivate your followers. Often it's very important to provide inspirational motivation to encourage the followers to get into action. Of course, being inspirational isn't always easy, but fortunately, you don't need motivational speeches to rouse your members and your followers. Some ideas for leadership inspiration could be being genuinely passionate about ideas or goals, to have this vision, to helping followers feel included in the process, and offering recognition, prize, different rewards for the people's accomplishments, and to really make people feeling appreciated. Offer rewards and recognitions in that sense. Another important quality of a good leader involves knowing that offering effective, very important to be effective recognition and rewards is one of the best ways to help followers feel appreciated and happy. It may also come as no surprise that happy people tend to perform better at work. So it's very important to think about that. Keep trying and learning new things. This is something that I personally follow, and especially within JCI and also my professional way, but especially in JCI, I have this ability to do it. and who says leaders are on it's a one-way relationship, let's say. As you work toward developing some of those leadership qualities, don't forget to look to your followers for feedback and maybe some inspiration from them. Pay attention to the things that have been effective in the past, and always be on the lookout for new ways to inspire, to motivate, to reward, and to do things. Great leaders, indeed, great people actually, are constantly learning and always trying to improve themselves. There is always something that you can work on or a new skill to master. Be sure to keep your mind open to new ideas and possibilities that are out there and that are in JCI, because we are, after all, JCI members. If not, you can become one. Knowing your limits, even the kindest, most caring leader has its own limits. Set your boundaries and stick to them. It's very important. Knowing what you will not tolerate can save everyone in your environment a lot of frustration. And keeping boundaries clear means that there is no confusion. So it can help you and also your followers and the people you inspire in a way. One thing that is, I really encourage you, it's to find a mentor. I'm not saying like a really the way that you're looking around and looking for mentors, but the person that can really help you to get the best of you. No man is an island, as they say, and the best leaders out there know they need help, and they know where to turn to in order to get it. Nobody can know everything, so finding someone you trust for advice when things get tough can make all of the difference. I may say that I have a lot of mentors in my life and in JCI. I have some people who have shown me the things that I wasn't able to see, and also that showed me the skills and abilities that I didn't notice in myself. And of course, the possibilities that I can just take and implement in my life. And following that, it's very important also to be able to be a good follower, because good leaders are also good followers. The rule is not usually highlighted in the leadership book, but it is one of the most underrated and critical aspects of leadership sometimes. The best way to learn is to be good follower and constantly benchmark yourself against those whom you aspire to be. As you emulate the best leaders and to learn from their success, you also learn to adjust your responses according to your seniors and the situation at hand, and gain insights on how to communicate, to translate with your the people you work with, or the people who are following you. As a follower, you'll learn to support and advocate good leadership also, and at the same time understand what constitutes that leadership and what people are looking for in a leader. So putting yourself at the other side. A good follower can effectively shape and have a positive impact on the leadership of the organization or his personal life by keeping everyone on track. It takes a lot of courage and integrity as well to be a good follower, and people who live by these rules are not only effective in their work, but also are able to live their way in the sense and with the feeling of being a leader or developing their leadership skills and character. That is probably way good followers usually make the best leaders. As mentioned before, but I really want to stress on that, do not play I know it all. Ask for help, advice, support. Surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. Leaders find success when they create teams composed of people who are experts in their areas. It's also something related to your personal growth, and many times smarter than leaders who are leading them. Great leaders give them room to grow and innovate. These are the leaders who people want to work for or to work with. And to follow. Unlike the micromanager leader whose insecurity leads them to create teams and include people just like them, these teams may make a leader feel comfortable versus challenge for the purpose of creating the best work. But also, this is the way you can develop your personal leadership. And you can, by learning from those people, by seeing things, the things that they're doing, and improving your own skills and your own abilities. And to continue with that, I see that there are some questions. So I think it's a good time to start answering them, and maybe you will come up with some other questions following my answers. I see that there is one question: what inspires you, Anna, and gives energy to keep going, doing, helping out, etc., from Iluta? Well, the inspiration, firstly, is coming from the things that I love to do. Usually I'm trying to do the things that I love, that are really helping me to grow. But to be honest, what inspires me and gives me the energy are the people. That's why actually I'm so active in the organization in JCI, because people here are those who can really gives me this energy, gives me this inspiration, and in a way support that I can do things. Either they're my leaders, the people I admire, or my mentors, or the people who I'm in a way leading, because this is the way that I know that I'm doing things, that I'm doing something right, that I'm supporting someone to grow and build their own skills and to become better. So this is the thing. I really love working with people and supporting people. Hopefully this answers your question. And then the second, which should be the behavior of a leader towards toxic team members? How to motivate and change that specific team member? Oh, this is a very important thing, because it's probably the way that a leader can show really strong abilities, not only to lead, but also to be able to find the things that can stop others and himself also to grow and develop. Because having this toxic person around you, either it's in your team, in your life, can really have effect in everything that you do, and even in your own growth. So the behavior should be really to address it. Of course, it depends on the way of behaving also of that person, and how it affects the other people in the team. Because if it's something that affects only you as a leader, you can just go and have a one-to-one talk and really understand the position of this person, because it's not always toxic because the person is bad or don't have some qualities, but it could be something else. It could be like a defensive behavior that the person is doing. It could be something related to yourself or to some particular person as well. So finding the reasons for a person doing something and acting in a way, or saying something, is the first step. Then putting yourself in the other's shoes, it's every time is the way that you can really find the solution of every challenge and every situation that you have. So it's not always about to change people, like to change themselves, but also maybe to change the reasons that they're part of the team, or the reasons that they're doing something. So why a person could be a toxic because his or her reasons to be part of this team are different. His goals are different. So finding this information is very important. And there are a lot of ways, of course, to do it. First, of course, directly asking, but maybe it's not always working like that, but usually can work. I can tell you that 99% is working. So finding this and trying to find the point where this person's goals and reasons are on the same level as the team goals and reasons, and then you can work together. Anyway, if you can't really find a way how you can work with this person, and this person has really bad influence and effect in the teamwork, better to say bye, rather than really trying to keep this person involved, try to keep change his behavior, because it will take more time to do that rather than really to work on the things that you're doing and to keep going. If this person has a very big and important role in your team, of course, you need to put some more efforts, because probably the person has really good qualities, and you can just find a way to talk in the same language, let's say. I don't really truly believe that people are bad. They just have some bad behavior, and to find the reasons, as I mentioned before, is the first step. And it's always also very good to think to look at the other perspective, because it could be like the reasons for person behavior, it's not something related to the team, to the group, or to yourself. It's something outside. So it's also a way to understand if there is something that is going from outside the team, and if you can do something to support this person, to help him or her to overcome this, it could be a way you can support the change of his behavior and the team. I hope this answers in a way and helps you to work with this, but I really hope also not to have this situation, even though it's inevitable sometimes. And Evia is asking, how do you continue to grow and develop as a leader? I mentioned at the beginning that one way to grow, because we're always growing, and the leadership is a lifestyle, as was mentioned already several times. So it's really to listen to other people, and to trying to find something new to learn, something new to do, some ways you can improve yourself, and maybe some inspiration that you can contribute to the change or to improvements for other people, or for the society also, something that we are trying to do in JCI. So to continue to grow and develop as a leader, you just continue doing everything that is provided to you, trying new things, maybe learning even languages can be something that can help you to become a better leader, because you can communicate with more people, for example. So why not? It's not something only about improving your professional skills, but also to improve your personal skills. It could be also to improve public speaking or debating, something that I personally believe that I can improve quite a lot, even having some experience. So this is the way to continue grow and develop, is to really find the things that probably are missing in your skills, and you want to further improve, and you want to further develop, because this is the way you can become better. And we are learning every day in our life. There is no like last day that we learned everything, it's done. And there are a lot of opportunities coming and coming and coming and coming. So this year, for example, I may say that we also became kind of a digital or virtual leaders, which is something even not here from yesterday, something that is new for many people. So how you can really inspire people when you don't meet them, how you can really help them when you don't meet them in person. So how you, standing in front of the computer, in front of the camera, you can really deliver this feeling and this support for other people. So this is something that we can learn, and it's not something that we will learn just this year, and it's like there is a course for that. So you can just continue trying to find a way how you can do it better, because it's also you can like get some skill that can help you to be a better leader, but maybe it's not the best level of the skill that you have improved in a way. So I can also say, Evia, that it's a never stopping journey to develop as a leader, to grow as a leader. And it's very common to ask how you know that you're a leader. I mean, nobody is saying, it's not a title that you can put in your business card, I'm a leader. So it's something that in a way people evaluate you as a leader, because people ask you for your advice, for your support. You see people are following you in a way. So in order to really deliver them to serve them better, you have to improve all the time. You have always to follow, to improve, to improve, but to address their expectations. I see some other questions. Okay, that's a good one. Well, from Aya, if I pronounce it right, what is the biggest difference between leader and manager? Yeah, I mentioned it before because for me, this is they're definitely two different things. I'm not saying that you can't be a leader and a manager and a leader, but let's say that for me, as I mentioned, leader is not a title. It's not something that you can put in your CV or in your business card. You are not going there and say, okay, my profession is to be a leader. So this is one of the difference. But manager, you can say you manage something. So you're either a project manager, you're managing a company. So you have specific things that you know you should do as a manager. And usually you are more, the manager is the person who basically literally manages the processes, the people, and they're in a way written steps and written things that the manager should do. For the leader, sometimes you don't know what you should do. For the leader, it's like to reshape, to find things, to find ways that are not there most of the time. And this is another reason that leadership is not something that you can study, that you can learn in a training course. This is something that you can, how to say it, that you can experience. And by your experience, you can continue developing it and continue delivering for the people. And for a manager, yeah, you can study management. So you can do that, maybe not at the best level, or maybe you can do the best level by working for some years. But I may say that both things are very closely connected. So I'm not saying that they're two-way difference, they're the different sides of the world, but just they have different purposes in our lives. And there are a lot of people who are good leaders. They lead, but maybe not so good managers. And the other side around, there are great managers who probably are not the best leaders, but still they do a good job. I see some other questions coming up. Name one of your everyday habit which you practice to develop a leader inside you. Thank you, Vika, for this question. So one, well, usually saying just one is not easy, because so I'll try to think about something that is maybe the thing that I do really every day. It's something that especially this year is I'm doing quite often. It's actually to how to say it, to measure the way. It's not easy to measure something, but to measure the way that I'm reaching out to people. What I'm saying with this is it's kind of a habit to see if the things that I am trying to say to people, trying to motivate, that the way that I'm trying to motivate them is something that is really reaching them. So one thing I'm doing, it's like giving them some homework, let's say it, for them to find some information, not to give them the whole picture, but just mentioning something. And if someone is coming back and saying, okay, I've looked at this book that you recommended and it was really good thing. So this is the way that I see, okay, this person was listening to me and this person really wants to improve. So this is something that I do quite often, especially when I work with let's say younger generation, because for them it's reading books, for example, it's not the most exciting things. Well, I can say also don't read that much books, but still. So this is something that I do, really to challenge people and to challenge it within their abilities, for sure. Because if you give some task, let's say for a person that you know that person can't really do, it's not leadership, it's bullying. Yeah, I see Florina mentioning nice point of becoming a leader in a virtual world. Yes, this year it was a really big challenge for everyone. But as I mentioned, taking the challenges into opportunities is a good thing. And in fact, with this being more virtual can provide us with more opportunities to reach more people as well, because we can't really travel everywhere. We can't really go to talk with everyone. So this is a way that we can reach more people and also connect with more people. And this is the way that we can create more leaders, because this is the things that we are trying to do. And talking about leaders, I'm not talking about leaders that there is a specific frame of a leader. It's everyone has their own leadership within themselves. And it's the way to find it is actually to see more people who they could follow, they can admire, and who can inspire them. So today it's even easier to do that, because you can really reach to more people. And we should keep in mind that everything that we are doing, especially if we believe that we are in a leadership position, probably someone is looking at us. So it's very important to think in a way what we are saying, how we are behaving, and to make sure that we give the right example for the people, especially for young people who kind of can get lost, especially in these really crazy and turbulent times. Yeah, I see Vika writing, imagine how Queen Elizabeth felt giving a speech for the first time in front of the camera. Indeed. And it's when you mentioned that, it's sometimes it's really interesting, especially when I record a video or something and I'm just talking to the camera. It's not the first time doing it, but still doing it so often, or delivering some training or speech and you don't see anyone. Like for now, good that there is the comment section that I can really see that people are listening, and I'm not just talking to my computer and my camera. So it's good to know. And I see another question from Dinia. How to make yourself step out of your comfort zone? Oh, yes. Well, usually this is the first step of doing anything. I mean, if you want to improve yourself, usually you have to step out of your comfort zone. So the first thing is that, are you willing to? It's not that difficult to do it. So when you decide to step out of your comfort zone, you just do it. It's like to go out of the door and or to I don't know, to drink water. It's so easy, but the decision to do it, this is something that is the difficult part. And to make the decision to step out of your comfort zone is to ask yourself why you're going to step out of your comfort zone, why you need it, why there is a need for that. I mean, if you can achieve everything that you want within your comfort zone, you can still continue staying there. But is this enough for you? So the way you can really achieve more, and you can improve more, and you can get the most of what is there, what is in the life, you should really ask for more, aiming for more, be more ambitious, I may say, in the good sense of ambitious, be more curious as well. So this is the thing. If your curiosity is leading you outside of your comfort zone, just step out of it, because this is the way that you can really fulfill this curiosity. There is no other way. You can't really stay in your comfort zone and believe that something that you want to see or to do will come there. Maybe at some point it will, but could be very late for that. And this can sorry. And then this can be something that you don't need already. So the first step is really, really, really to be willing to go out there and to have the reason to go out there. I don't see any more questions now, but if you have some, you can just continue posting. We have some minutes, but I want to play a video for you that was prepared. Because this video, I will just give a short background of this video, why I chose this one. Actually, this is quite a new version of it. The video is something, yes, that was shown to me and a lot of other people in the organization 5 years ago by the upcoming, then it was the candidate for world president, Pascal Diquet. this video he showed us when we were preparing ourselves to be national presidents. And this video I was like just listening to this, and I was like saying, okay, it's so simple. I mean, it's not like very complex thing that you have to do. It's just to do something. It's not the whole video. It's a very long one. I encourage you to watch the original one, because this one is a kind of a new version. But it looks good, and the sound is better. So I really want to share this video with you, and this is my call to action to all of you.
Almost everybody does almost everything you need to do to win. Almost everybody gets there. Almost everybody's over the hump. Almost everybody has it going. Almost is a way of life to almost everybody, but the winners, they do it. What do? They do whatever it takes to get the job done. They do it and do it and do it and do it until the job gets done. We need leaders who can do it. If you want to become somebody, do it. If you want to become financially independent, do it. I hear too much talk around A.O. Williams. You need to do it and then talk. I hear people say, Art, you can count on me. Great, just do it. Art, what's the primary difference between winners and losers? The winners do it. They do it and do it and do it and do it until the job gets done. And then they talk about how great it is to have achieved something unique, and how glad they are that they didn't quit like everybody else, and how wonderful it is to finally be somebody they're proud of.
Sorry. So yeah, while you were talking, I wrote down some questions. I'm keeping myself busy. So yeah, I mean, there are a couple of things, but we all know this year is definitely not the way it was planned at the end of last year. And at the beginning of this year, we had so many ideas and plans and stuff like that. And at one point, it's like boom, and now in one day you have to rewrite everything you have been planning for a couple of months, and to do something to surprise others and think of something new. So what you have learned so far, all from this, I mean, that's quite a journey, I'd say.
Indeed, what I've learned is that I'm more resilient than I was thinking I am. Resilient in the sense that I can change, or I mean more flexible than I thought. Yes, having plans, for example, traveling plans, which was like a huge part in my role this year, and really to change it just like that. And I was like, okay, now what I'm doing, how I can really fulfill my position this year, fulfill the things that I was planning to do and to support the organization. But in fact, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't that difficult to do. But again, as following the video, you just have to do it. Otherwise, it will be talking and saying, "Oh my God, what we should do?" And no, everything is closed. We are done. We can't really manage to achieve anything this year. We can just have to change the way how we are doing it, and it was not that bad in that sense, because we find new ways, new things, and most importantly, we managed to do something. I mean, to implement something that we were trying to do in the years before, saying, "Oh, we should be more digital. We should go to change something." Well, let's say the situation made us do it, even without asking if we're ready or not.
Okay. So also that's again my things and questions and my thoughts of this year, because I also had to do a lot as national president, because just do it something at least. And what are things that keeps you or gives you, or how you are recharging your battery? I mean, we are all humans. You cannot just go and smile for 24 hours a day and then stuff like that. So what's the things that cheer you up and like what we don't see behind the scene?
Well, one thing is actually just to watch a movie or something to relax, let's say. I believe that we should really do this. And this year, the EVP Marian was like mentioning it all the time to the whole team that we should really have a good rest. I mean, not really to loud ourselves or overwork ourselves. And I was definitely following that. Even if you can't see, like, we are always everywhere all the time. It's not like that. I mean, we also try to sleep and have a good rest. So this is one of the things. And the second thing that for me, it's kind of a booster is actually when I'm really trying to see what we have achieved and to appreciate that, because this is yet another step done to reach our goal, to become better organization, to become stronger organization, or if it's something personal for me, to become better myself. So I really believe it's worth it to do that and to do something or to do anything else, just because even just staying and watching, I don't know, the sailing or the wall can't really have any contribution to my life and to the life of others. Now, this is the way.
Okay. And other things like, once again, after the video, it's just do it, in my head. But also, well, JCI is a huge organization and so many different cultures and stuff. You have shortly and slowly getting to know Latvians, and we have lots of common with the Bulgarians. I noticed that, but what we have the special feature that despite everything, we are very critical on ourselves. I mean, even if you have done great things, you try to see, like what's hasn't been so good as you planned or something. So also that's for leader. What could you suggest, for example, how to, I don't know, tasks, tools, tricks, whatever, what to do, how to make people see these good things more and stress on that more, especially in this when second lockdown, it's one big deal.
Well, first thing really it could be something very simple to list everything that you have achieved this year, because I believe that this list will become bigger and bigger with the time you are putting everything there, and then you see that you really achieved something. So you did your job. So either it's big or small, it doesn't matter, because you have done something. This is one of the things about the critical that it's something that I always do. It's again something also Bulgarians think, that we are not happy, we are not good enough. Yeah, I know this, and that's why we are trying to overachieve in every area, which is not bad at all, but we need to keep our limits, because sometimes even doing it just the right way is enough, not to do it the best possible way, because you really don't know what is the best possible way anyway. So do the way that you see it's a good, and that you will reach your goals. Yeah, this year we changed a lot of things. We even probably change our goals that we have to achieve till the end of the year, but it doesn't mean that we didn't achieve anything. So put this in your list, and most importantly, celebrate that, because we forgot also this part, to celebrate our achievements. Even the goal that I don't know, that you have this great event, or to have this project that I know how much efforts you put in it, and I see the results, and I can tell you that it's amazing, and it's still not end of it. So.
No, actually, I see the comment, and maybe my cool IT girl could show it on the screen. I see that the video of Do It has really inspired others for questions.
So what if you want to do it, but your brain said, Do it again. How push came softly to avoid the useless, unhealthy stress. Well, the stress is not always a good person, not person, it's not a person, but a good thing that you to have in your life. So keep in mind not to burn out, because this is following the stress that we all have. And again, following with to set up your limits, even if in the things that you're doing. And if you see that even putting a lot of efforts, the results is not coming, or the results is different, it's not saying that stop doing it, but maybe like just stop yourself for a while and think and relax, and maybe you can ask for advice, or just look at it and see, maybe I'm not doing the right thing, I'm not doing it the right way. Otherwise it shouldn't be stressful for me. It should be something that I enjoy. And stop for a while, and then you can continue again, or you can just change something and find another way to do the things. It's not like a must to finish it the way you started it.
Yeah, we also had this technique when we were learning that if something is not going on, I think after 100 times of trying, then there's the method kills a darling. So unfortunately, most likely this idea will not go further. But yeah, thank you for question. And one question more. We have time for question and for some remarks. We've been discussing a lot about leadership. It's coming from an organization called JCI, General Chamber International. Some of us knows what's that. Some of us are still learning about it. So a bit of a sales point, if you allow me here. So there are two questions for me. What's JCI for you, and why you are here still? How long it's been?
It's around 8 years, but for sure will be more, because I'm still young and I have some time in the organization. And it's not only that I have time, but I have so much to do in the organization and with the organization and people in the organization. The fact is that if you really want to understand JCI, it's the only way it's really to stay in the organization, to be active in the organization. It's difficult to really say in few words what is JCI. JCI, we have a lot of we have our
just
mission,
for you,
our vision.
Just for you.
Yes, yeah, I'm saying yes. So it's it's something that you can really experience. And for me, JCI is a place of opportunities, and I can really say, and I'm staying behind my words, it's endless opportunities, because it's not something that you have done and you check and it's finished. Because we are also developing as an organization, so you can find new opportunity on the next day, on the next year, when you checked everything that is currently there. So this is what is JCI for me.
Okay, cool. And we're really glad that you're here. I see that unfortunately for Peter, he didn't hear what you answered to his question, but I can say that it's recorded and it will stay under JC Latvia Facebook page. So feel free to later check all the discussion and see the answer. And after now, I think that's been a great 2 hours with you guys here behind the scene and on that side. And before we are closing, I would like to use this how to say magic that we organize this, and I would like to say lots of thank you for this, because I mean I wouldn't be here if I wouldn't have cool people who are behind the scenes who has helped me a lot for this and helped all JC Latvia. So it's cool. IT girl, I think she has a new career. Definitely, it's Vika, it's Evie, it's Florina. It's the ones who've been working very actively for this online session, for quick change of the game suddenly and deciding to struggle, but still finding opportunities. Then I'm saying a lot of thanks for all team who is working for discussions, for videos. I think we have found out a lot of new talents here in Latvia. I think you saw some videos. I really like them and they're cool. So that's the way I think we should go further. And one sales point for Latvia. So, well, if you liked what you see here, it's the energy, the pattern, the people you can meet that the idea to bring international environment closer to your sofa in this time and be together and not somewhere alone. So we are inviting you to join JCI Latvia. We are going to organize in-person academy, JCI Leadership Academy, in May 2021. That's settled, and there's the event already on the page. So feel free to join for the academy. Feel free to join for the organizing the academy. Feel free to reach us out by Facebook or by LinkedIn if you feel like joining this awesome team. And I say they're really cool. And what else I would like to say? Well, yeah, thank you so much for spending time. I hope that these 2 hours went quite fast for you. And I'm hoping that we will meet quite soon. And I hope to see you soon in person, really. Like plans for this year was a bit tricky, but we will manage to bring you to Latvia. And at the end, and before leaving, there's one cute video. What's JCI? What's JCI Latvia? Once again, made by our really talented members. So see who we are, see the context, how you can find us, and meet us soon enough, either online, either in person. And thank you for being here. It was really cool time for me, at least. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, and thank you, everyone. And